We're here at TVA Trails in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, getting ready to set out on an unknown distance, hopefully around 4 miles or plus. There's a parking area here, restrooms, maps to the trails, watering up our cooling towels now. Temperature is in the mid-70s, 95% humidity. Looks like a nice, pretty day. The hike begins along this old service road that TVA used to develop the land, and clear it, construct office buildings in the past many years ago. There's a garden loop over here that you can go around and look for wildflowers. Nice and shady. Let's hope it stays that way. Humidity doesn't feel like 95% just yet. It might in a few minutes, but right now it's pretty comfortable. We're leaving the pavement now after a long, slow incline, and we're supposedly doing the overlook, I guess. We're leaving the pavement after a long, slow incline, and we're coming here to the Rockpile Trail, and it would appear that we're going toward the overlook. So we'll give this a shot and see how far we're going. Things are a bit more sketchy here with some damp earth. We do have some stone steps sort of to help with the grade. We're going downhill. Some of those stones are not very solid, though. That one just rocked really well under my feet. The river is off to our left. Lots of debris in the pathway. It would appear this must not be a heavily trafficked area because Rhonda's fighting cobwebs up here. Lots of muscadine vines in the trees. Ugh, she missed a cobweb. Just got me. There's one bodacious muscadine vine right there. You come to an open area. It's labeled as the old first quarters for the Civilian Conservation Corps that developed all this. There's a pavilion here, some picnic tables. They've got some restrooms, it looks like, but who knows if they work. Well, there's a trash can in there, so. And there's the main road for the TVA property right over there. So, and there's the river. And there's the city of Florence on the other side. Part of it, you can see it. And here we have some turkeys, mama turkey and chicks running away. Now they're flying away. Thank you, Lord, for letting us see that.
And this is where we first came to park when we were dating some 50 years ago.
TMI. Too much information. Trying an experiment today too with the shoulder mount on this GoPro. See how steady that might be and how well I can control it. May not turn out to be anything worth keeping, but at least it's a trial. Also, we're trying another experiment. We're using Nike's Run Club app for iPhones to measure the distance going out, which is really not very accurate, it appears. But every time it thinks you pause, it takes you 10 to 20 steps for it to resume again, so you lose distance. And where?
Did we go down there now? Or
No, I guess we keep going. There's another one down that way. That wasn't very well marked. But when we're climbing steep inclines, going up and down steps that are lengthy, things like that, Nike's app pauses and doesn't resume. Doesn't resume until you get laterally a certain distance away from where it paused. So on the way back, since we don't think this is very accurate, we're going to try the All Trails app and see what kind of distance it does to compare to Nike's app. The one advantage to Nike's app that for sure is there is it tells you when you reach a mile or 2 miles or 3 and the time. It may or may not be accurate. It doesn't appear to be. Maybe great if you're running on a flat area, a relatively flat area, where you don't really slow down, you don't go up, you don't go down very much. But hiking up and down and stepping over trees and roots and moving yourself around a trail where you're having to slow down, it's not the best, it appears. So we'll see. We'll give it a shot and find out how it works. Well, there was a branch in the trail evidently that was missed because of poor blazing, and we ended up on the wrong trail and pretty much ended up to a dead end to our left. It's a fisherman's trail. So we backtracked, Rhonda found another way, and we ended up on the skimmer wall, hopefully continuing our Rockpile Trail trek. So we'll see what happens next. I hope the thing is more well marked than that was, or we'll end up who knows where. That was a pretty intense hill climb. This place looks kind of overgrown. It's supposed to be well traveled, but it's not very well kept. And the trail markings are atrocious. They're almost non-existent once you get off into the trail away from the parking. But it is a workout. I would say that in many places it's much more than moderate. So, taking a water break, and after we have some of that and just catch our breath for a minute, we'll continue on. Here's an example of why we're turning back. This is the worst trail I've ever seen to be a place for a day hike. Just look, there's 6 to 8 foot tall weeds clogging the path. And this is not a mistake as far as the path. The sign pointed to it. So, I went up through there about 100 yards and it gets worse as you go. So we're turning back. This is absurd. If I were TVA, I would be ashamed to put it on a sign. This is terrible. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of TVA. I grew up in this area. I just love the river. Been to the Rockpile many times. Camped there. A lot of things. But this for a day hike, I mean, if you want to prove how tough a guy you are or how butch you are or whatever, that's fine. But for an enjoyable day hike, This is a sad reality. I would definitely not recommend this unless you're trying to get yourself in shape to go to the jungles of South America or something. It's ridiculous. Here is the sign that directed us to that overgrown jungle of a field and wasteland, unfortunately deemed a trail. You see this on this trail, may as well turn back unless they've mowed it since we've been here. I feel like I've been climbing a lighthouse after all we've been through walking through all this mess. Now we got steps that are like crazy. And here comes Rhonda, trooping right on up. And now we've got more incline on gravel. Who is right? And this pretty steep as well. After getting off that unmarked, terribly marked, difficult Rockpile Trail, we decided to take a different path back and decided to take the old First Quarters Trail from its termination at the pavilion. And they had a sign up showing where we were and layout of the trails, but they never showed where the trail started. So we had to guess at it. But it appears that we guessed correctly. Wetwater Creek right here that runs through, feeding the river. So far we're going pretty good. This is a little more relaxing after the exertion that we put out. And it's a little more enjoyable to be able to enjoy the woodlands around us.
I've got to walk across that.
Don't think so. Maybe rotten. Talking about an old log bridging the ditch over there. And we're back in the car. We're leaving the parking lot. We did our return via the old First Quarters Trail from the pavilion on the Rockpile Trail, but it was just too steep and hot, humid. We were just not up to it, climbing all those steep cliffs. So we're headed back now.